What's goody? Hey man, so today we are here. We are back again reacting to another Bleacher Report article, man, and we are reacting to early betting odds and predictions for every 2026 award. So let's just get right into it, man. The dog days of NBA summer can be difficult to slog through for sure. What's next? Blah 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 blah. Mandatory look at the latest and greatest early betting odds for every 2027 award. I love that they're including predictions and dark horse possibilities because I'm a guy that loves to always talk about dark horses, that loves to always try to give every fan base and every player possible their flowers because they only play for so long, you know what I mean? And then most of them will be forgotten in the grand scheme of NBA fandom. So I like this, man. I very much like that they're, you know what I mean, including predictions and including dark horses and everything like that. The betting odds are coming from FanDuel, don't mind that. Yeah. Based on the association's lay of the land mid-August, dark horse candidates qualify as anyone who doesn't have top 7 betting odds for an award in question, but we should nevertheless keep the eye on. Okay, bet. First, we got Rookie of the Year, and they're saying Cam Boozer is the favorite, and I agree with this. I like that it's pretty tight between these top 4 guys because I do very much think that any one of those 4 guys could win it, whether it be a Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, DP, or AJ DeBonsa. For Darius Acuff Jr., it's going to be tough, right? Because the Kings are going to be awful. Now, while that doesn't necessarily matter to me for Rookie of the Year, he would have to come in as a small guard. Granted, as a guard that everyone touted to be one of the next Calipari elites, you know what I mean? But he would have to come in as a small guard with not a lot of help around him on one of the worst defensive teams ever, probably, and average 20 plus points per game. So it would, and at least have some type of decent efficiency to do it, right? Especially given the competition for his draft class. It'll be definitely very tough. For a Darius Acuff Jr. to win this award, it would be tough for a Braden Berries to do the same thing again on a bad Milwaukee Bucks team, especially because he's going to have a couple of guards in front of him like a Ryan Rollins, a Kevin Porter Jr., and whoever else, is Tyler Hero and whoever else. So it'll be tough for him. It'll be tough for Darius Acuff, but these top 4 guys right here, I definitely think any one of them could win Rookie of the Year. Is there anybody that I'm not thinking about that I think could have a chance? I think Michael Brown is the first guy that comes to mind because Michael Brown, while he, again, like these guys, isn't on a great team, you know what I mean? He will be a starter probably from day one. He will probably start at one of those 2 lead guard positions alongside of Yegor Tillman, which is tough for him. I think that'll give him a whole lot of opportunity, and he will have solid guys to pass to, whether it be a Julius Randle or a Michael Porter Jr. He has real NBA players to pass to. He has real NBA players that will be getting guarded a little bit more intensely than he will. He will have some opportunities. So I'm surprised to not see him as like a dark horse or maybe just with some odds. But yeah, I like the Cam Boozer pick that they did here. I agree. I think Cam Boozer will win Rookie of the Year. I think he's a very polished rookie. I think he comes into the NBA and is a good passer, is a good defender, is a good shooter, has a good basketball IQ, and is just a good basketball player, knows what to do, and is a guy that you can kind of run your team through. I think he can be kind of a hub for your team. And I think he can just be a little bit calm, a little bit. He for a younger guy, I feel like he's got some calm, some poise to him, and I like that about his game. I think a lot of people kind of worry about his ceiling, and I don't really care about any of that because I think he's a very good NBA player right now, and I think obviously if you can come into the NBA as a rookie and be a very good player, I think you can be a very good player throughout your entirety of your career. So I'm a big believer in Cam Boozer. I was one of those guys that said, if we're talking about NBA readiness, I think he should be drafted number 1. Just if we're talking about NBA readiness, I think he is a guy that will come in and immediately have an impact for the Memphis Grizzlies. And like the last Bleacher Report article that we reacted to, is right, where they said that this will be a dark horse play-in team. If that's going to be true, if that's going to come to fruition, they will require Cam Boozer to be Rookie of the Year. Like, there is no way that they can do that without Cam Boozer being the best rookie on the planet this year. No way. Next, Clutch Player of the Year. Yeah, this is a tough one, which is probably why the odds start at plus 700. You know what I mean? There's no one that's 100% or super likely or above the rest of the crowd to win this award. Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Shea, Luka, and Nikola Jokic. I don't hate any of that. They are dark horse candidates. Damian Lillard, who I don't hate any of that either. You know, it's Dame time. We know that and everything like that. They predict Anthony Edwards to win this award, and I think that's very possible if they're in clutch games. I mean, any one of these guys, if they're in clutch games, could win this award. There are some other guys who I think could be here, you know what I mean? Like, assuming the Sixers have some injuries, could Tyrese Maxey be a guy that could come in here and maybe win this award? Could Jason Tatum be a guy that comes in, assuming the Celtics are in a lot of close games, and wins this award? Could Steph Curry, even though his team's not great, right? With his team not being great, could they be in a lot of close games or come from behind games where Steph Curry kind of has to take over even at his old age? Is there anybody else who I think of that I think could really have a chance, or I could really see them winning this award that's not named or pictured? I'm trying to think in respect to everybody here. I feel like I'm definitely forgetting some guys, right? Like, I mean, we could see a Kevin Durant do it. I don't necessarily see that happening, but I guess it's possible. But yeah, I wouldn't be mad at any one of these guys being your pick. If I had to pick, you know what? Cade Cunningham. If I had to pick, I might go with Cade Cunningham. Their team doesn't have a whole lot of creation. So in the clutch, the only guy who you're really going to is going to be a Cade Cunningham. And Shea, don't get me wrong, in the clutch, you're going to go to Shea, you're going to go to Ant, you're going to go to Jalen Brunson, you're going to go to Luka, and all this. Don't get me wrong. But those guys have other guys on their teams that you might trust. You might be able to give it to a Jared McCain or an AJ Mitchell or a J Dub. You might be able to give it to a Cat. You might be able to give it to a LaMelo. You might be able to give it to an Austin Reeves or Jamal Murray. But when I look at a guy like Cade Cunningham, I'm thinking, okay, boom, what the next best offensive option in the clutch, especially if we're talking about self-creation, from Cade Cunningham is such a far step down compared to the teammates of any of these other guys that I do think it's very, very possible that Cade Cunningham could be a guy that comes in and wins this award. But I'm not mad at them for picking Anthony Edwards. Not a bad pick at all. Wow. Terrence Shannon Jr.? Wow. Bro, in the next video y'all are going to see from me, or in one of the next videos y'all see from me, it will be my players who I'm buying stock in for 2027 or whatever. It'll be my most improved players that I think will have a breakout year. Terrence Shannon Jr. is one of the guys who gets the most praise from me in that entire video, and that's partially because I'm so high on the Wolves, man. But everyone keeps asking who's going to guard, who's going to come off the bench, who's going to provide these things. When they do come off the bench, who's going to score? Bro, when I'm telling you, the guy who I see coming off their bench and providing a lot for them, especially offensively, is Terrence Shannon Jr. I think he's a guy that is going to come in off that bench with the Donte DiVincenzo and whoever else, and is going to be a guy that is fun, is going to be a guy that is going to score off the bench for them, is going to be a guy that is going to keep this team afloat when either an Anthony Edwards, Ayo Dosunmu, LaMelo Ball, when 3 of those 5 or 4 of those 5 guys in the starting lineup are no longer on the bench, or are no longer in the game, Terrence Shannon Jr. is going to be a guy that comes into that game and will be able to, assuming he progressed in the way I expected he did, will be able to come out there and score. Will be able to come out there and be a little bit versatile on the defensive end. Will be able to come out there and back up a guy like an Anthony Edwards or back up a guy like an Ayo Dosunmu, and you will feel confident in that. So I'm very, very happy that they included Terrence Shannon Jr. here, because I have not heard a lot of people with as high of a praise or as high of hopes for Terrence Shannon Jr. as I have. But for them to pick him as 6th man of the year tells me that they believe in him in the same way that I do. Now, what I will say, if Dylan Harper doesn't take the starting job from De'Aaron Fox, this award is his. If AJ Mitchell doesn't start and Jared McCain starts instead of him, he very well could win this award. If I had to pick right now today, I probably would pick Anthony Simons, because I do believe Dylan Harper and AJ Mitchell will probably eventually start at some point, or if not for the majority of the season. I feel the same way about Peyton Pritchard. I feel the same way about Keyshawn George, who they have as a dark horse candidate. So if we're talking about 6th man of the year, I would have Terrence Shannon Jr. as a top 3 guy, but I feel like Anthony Simons is probably my pick to win it, because I think Anthony Simons can be a guy that comes off of that Philadelphia 76ers bench, provides some scoring for them, provides some shooting for them, and especially some efficient shooting, provides ball handling, and just looks like not a huge drop-off after Tyrese Maxey comes out of the game. I could very well see that happening. I think Anthony Simons will have a very good year this year after kind of being disrespected and thrown around the NBA a little bit over these last couple of years. But yeah, I absolutely like this. I love seeing Terrence Shannon Jr. get this respect, man, because I did not expect to see Terrence Shannon Jr. anywhere on this list at any point. So I love to see that, man. Good for him. Most improved player, Brandon Miller, Peyton Pritchard, Dylan Harper, Asar Thompson, and Kel'el Ware. I don't hate this list. Their dark horse candidate is Jalen Tyson, and they picked Brandon Miller. Yeah, that would be my pick. I was a guy that really loved Brandon Miller coming out of college. I'm a big fan of his, and I think with LaMelo Ball gone, his on-ball opportunities will be much more than they were before. And I think especially when we look at the numbers of Con Knuppel on the floor with LaMelo versus off the floor with LaMelo, he gets a lot worse, especially shooting wise, when LaMelo Ball's not on the floor. So if he's going to be worse, and if LaMelo Ball's not going to be taking up the ball as much, and Kobe White's not going to be sitting there pound or trying to be a traditional point guard, Brandon Miller will have a lot more opportunities to have the ball in his hand and to do things with it. And I think with his skill set, that will lead to easily the best scoring year of Brandon Miller's career. I don't know if this will be the most efficient year. I hope it will be, but I absolutely believe that Brandon Miller could win Most Improved Player this year. I don't hate the Jalen Tyson pick, because I'm a guy that thinks he will take that starting small forward position over there in Cleveland. I don't hate the Dylan Harper pick, because I'm a guy that thinks he will take that starting point guard position over there in San Antonio. So I don't hate most of these picks. Asar Thompson's a guy that I believe in, especially literally just one small shooting leap or offensive leap from Asar Thompson will be enough for him to win this award with how great his defense is. So yeah, I don't hate really any of these guys, because Khalil Ware is a guy that could take a starting job from an aging Miles Turner, especially on a rebuilding team where they're trying to see what they can get out of their young guys. Absolutely, I don't hate any of this. I would pick Brendan Miller as well, but there are other guys here who could probably win this, right? Who do they bring up anybody? Con Knipple, Kobe White. These are the teammates of Brandon Miller, though. I feel like I'm trying to think. Like I feel like Stephon Castle. I feel like it wouldn't be crazy to have him here. I'm trying to think of some other guys. I feel like I had some other guys in my head where I feel like, oh, come on, Maluach. I don't think it would be bad to put him here because I think he's a guy that's probably going to take the starting center job over there in Phoenix. So going from a guy that barely played and was a third-string center kind of to being the starting center in just 1 year as a second-year player would be extremely impressive. And then Colin Murray-Boyles in a similar light to Ausar Thompson. Colin Murray-Boyles goes out there and takes even the smallest offensive leap while also starting on the Toronto Raptors, who I think will be one of the better seeds or one of the top seeds out east this year. Absolutely, I think that would be enough for him to win Most Improved Player. So there are some other guys who I would like to see included here, but not a bad list. Yeah, Victor Wembanyama. I don't have to spend too much time here. I'm surprised they don't have Scotty Barnes in the top 5 anywhere for these odds because I think Scotty Barnes last year proved himself to be probably the best and most versatile defensive player in the NBA when it comes to guarding 1 through 5. So I would definitely have him over here. Like, there's no way you're telling me you think Ausar Thompson's a better wing defender than Scotty Barnes. No disrespect to Ausar Thompson. He's one of the best. But I just think if we're talking about wing defender or guarding 1 through 5, I would rather have Scotty Barnes do both. So I'm not mad at this list. I absolutely think Victor Wembanyama is going to win it. Pretty much every year that he's healthy, this will be his award to lose. Donovan Clingan is a dark horse. Again, I don't hate that either, but I just don't like that there's no love for my boy Scotty Barnes, man. But yeah, he literally was the first unanimous NBA Defensive Player of the Year last year. Like, yeah, MVP. I agree with this too. I would probably pick Victor Wembanyama to win it. Again, he was so close to winning it last year. In just his third year in the NBA and what was his first fully healthy season. They were the 2 seed. Now what happens this year if his numbers are a little bit better on both sides of the ball, especially offensively though, and they're the 1 seed. That's all it would take. It's all it would take for him to be the MVP. So I would definitely pick Wemby to be the MVP as well. Tyrese Halliburton as a dark horse is interesting to me, man, because I feel like it's very possible, but my thing, because his team is so good, and like Tyrese Halliburton's a guy that in that system could very well go out there and average 20 and 15 and have his team as the 1 seed. But I think it would take that for him to win MVP. I think it would take him averaging like Steve Nash 25 and 12, and his team probably being the 1 seed and their offense being like as revered as the 7 seconds or less offense that the Suns used to run in order for him to win it specifically. Now, a guy that I would like to see as a dark horse, and the guy that I have as my dark horse, is Cade Cunningham. Again, because there's not so much help on his team. He's going to be the main scorer. He's going to be where everything starts and stops for the Detroit Pistons. And if they're going to have a season similar to last year, there will be no way you can deny Cade of at least finishing top 5 in MVP to me. And then another guy that I wanted to talk about that I feel like y'all know how I feel about his odds to win MVP, because if y'all watched my last video, I said he would finish top 2 in MVP, and that's Anthony Edwards. Again, I think his team will be a top 2 seed. I think they'll be a very good team, and I think he'll average 30. That's enough to be an MVP candidate, to be an MVP top 2, top 5 finisher at the very least. So while I do think Wemby will win it, I would like to see a little bit of love for some guys like, I don't know, a Cade Cunningham or an Anthony Edwards, but obviously you can't show love to everyone. It's their list, not mine. I don't hate this, though. A lot of this stuff wasn't too bad. There are definitely some names that I kind of would have wanted to see that I didn't see, but none of this was terrible or anything like that. Definitely wasn't like a rage baity type of list. But yeah, man, let me know what y'all thought about this. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching as always, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please do not forget to keep God first as always, all right? He loves you, so do I. Let me know what y'all want to see next. All right, peace out.